Here with Boulder County District Attorney Stan Garnett. Thank you so much for joining us and congratulations.
Well, thanks very much. I'm happy to be here.
So what sparked this decision for you?
Well, I've been a trial lawyer a long time. It's really pretty much all I've ever done. I'm in my 36th year. I started out right out of law school as a deputy district attorney. Then I went to Ramsey and Farber in the 1980s and spent 22 years there doing complex litigation. Came back to be DA for a while. I've loved being DA, but I'm term limited. I'm in my last term. I don't want to quit working, and so I've been looking at different options, and the firm made me a really interesting offer to go back there and help them build and lead the litigation practice, which is what I do. Train lawyers, hire lawyers, and handle interesting cases, and I'm very excited about doing that.
10 years is a long time. What would you say your biggest accomplishment as DA in that time was?
Yeah, 10 years is a long time. It's longer than people realize. I am actually now the second longest serving district attorney in Boulder County since 1876, so it's unusual to stay this long. I think I'm the most proud of the staff that we've been able to attract to the Boulder DA's office. We have an excellent staff of trial lawyers and investigators and victim advocates, top to bottom in that office, and I am confident it's one of the best district attorney's offices in the country. So I'm really proud that we've been able to attract quality people, and we've done a lot of great work in court, presenting cases, engaging the Boulder community, so I'm proud of a lot of those things.
You talk about the work in court. It's tough to call it a win in any case, because most of the time any case that you're working has some sort of tragedy tied to it. But what do you think was your biggest win in the courtroom?
Well, I personally have had a number of them, including the Dinell Lane case, which was a terribly, terribly tragic and sad fetal abduction case that I tried in 2016. Really one of the most emotional cases I've ever handled, or anybody I know has handled. I tried 2 first-degree murder cases that we got convictions on. Those were very important. But I think I'm the most proud of the work we've done with immigrant protection. We've established a priority of protecting undocumented residents of Boulder County from crime because they become victims a lot. We've taken several of those cases to trial and gotten guilty verdicts, and those cases have a lot of complicated parts to them in helping the jury understand immigration and the reality of crime there. So those are the things I'm the most proud of.
You talked a little bit about the Dinell Lane case, the Michelle Wilkins case. You look at a lot of things, you process a lot of evidence, you see a lot of things every day that the public doesn't see. How do you take that home and how do you get that out of your mind?
Well, that's a real challenge, actually. And for example, in a case like that or in a homicide case, there will be hundreds, sometimes thousands of photographs of the crime scene or of the victims. And particularly in this day and age when photography is quite sophisticated and easy to present, it's a real challenge. Obviously the evidence is difficult, and then dealing with the people who've been impacted, whether it's a homicide and the surviving victims, or in a case like Dinell Lane, where the victim, Michelle Wilkins, recovered fully, but had had this horrible thing happen. It's a real challenge. You really do carry that with you. I carry those cases with me, as my family knows, as my wife knows. We're trying to do a better job in the office of providing counseling and support for the secondary trauma impact that DAs carry. And I think we're doing better, but there's no easy answer. These are sad cases, and you have a lot of responsibility as a prosecutor, and you carry it with you.
When you walk out of that office in February, what will be your biggest regret, the one thing that you weren't able to do that you really wanted to?
I don't know that I have a lot of well, I would have loved to solve the Ramsey case. We did not. I think my biggest regret, the biggest sadness I will feel, is leaving behind the friends that I have in the office, the staff who are so committed to justice every day and who do such a great job. The irony in a district attorney's office under the term limit scheme is I'm the one person in the office who does not have a long-term job because of term limits. So I will miss that a lot. I'm really proud of those people. I like those people, and they're good friends, but we'll stay in touch.
You talked about the Ramsey case, and I have to ask you, I mean, you've been there, you've seen what we have and what we don't have in that case. Will it ever be solved?
Well, you never know, and we've focused a lot on cold case prosecution and cold case resolution and have had a lot of success. My view is any homicide is always an open case, and we will continually review evidence. It's possible it will be solved. A number of things would have to come together, from dealing with some DNA aspects and a number of different parts of the crime scene, etc. It's possible. I think it's unlikely.
Got it. In cold cases, we were just you were talking about that. You've put a large focus on cold cases. Why'd you do that?
Well, we did that. You know, I really feel that a district attorney's office has to be very responsive to the community and has to be very engaged in the community. I've lived in Boulder pretty much my whole life, and I know the Boulder community expects cold case homicides to be solved. And doing so builds confidence in the community as well, that the justice system works, that the system works, and it can be handled. So the benefits are you provide resolution for the victims' families who are dealing with not only the sadness of the homicide, but it's never been resolved. And then it also builds confidence in the community that we've got sophisticated, skilled folks, both in the police departments and in my office and elsewhere, that can get to work and put these cases together. And it also, particularly in a community like Boulder, which is pretty close-knit and people remember things. For example, we eventually issued a warrant on the Thanes-Smyka homicide that the victim was Sid Wells in 1984. Now, we have not found Mr. Smyka, and we may never find him, but the mere process of reviewing that case and me concluding with my staff there is enough evidence to charge it was tremendously satisfying and of comfort to the victim's family. So it's just the right thing to do.
Do you think departments around the state do a good enough job looking into cold cases, or is there more work to be done?
Well, there's definitely more work to be done. I think most district attorneys do the best they can. One of the realities in Colorado is the district attorney's offices have a lot of funding problems. We're not funded by the state of Colorado. We're funded by our counties, and the level of support we get depends on the financial strength of the county and some other things. Many DAs, I have the benefit of 85 staff, over 30 lawyers. I have excellent, excellent staff. Many DAs' offices in Colorado have only a couple of lawyers. It's a very tight budget, and so they just don't have the resources to look at those cases. I think the state could do a better job of providing support for investigation and prosecution of cold cases. I think it should be a real priority.
What are you going to miss in your new job that you have in the DA's office?
Well, I love working in Boulder. You know, I work just a couple of miles from my house. I ride my bike to work a lot in the summer. I miss that. I will miss the vitality of the Boulder community. Boulder is a wonderful place where people are intense, they're passionate, they care a lot, they certainly care about justice. And I love interacting with those people, whether I agree with them or not, or whether they support a decision I made or not. There's a wonderful civic vitality to Boulder that I will miss being a part of that every day.
There are a lot of people talking with this resignation, wondering if you have any plans to run for elected office again. Do you down the road? Is this part of maybe thinking about something else down the road?
Well, you know, that's one of those questions that's very hard to answer in my line of work without somehow somebody thinking you're misleading them, etc. Do I have plans? I don't have plans. Would I consider it again? I certainly would. I very much enjoyed being involved in public life, both as district attorney and on the school board. I love having a seat at the table and having a chance to participate in public discourse. It would depend on what the office was and what the opportunity was. Certainly going to a firm like I'm going to and being involved there on a high level of managing it will be very rewarding, but there's nothing as rewarding as feeling like you're making a difference in a community on issues that matter. So yeah, if my health holds, I may well run for something again.
Any position that you've ever looked at and thought maybe I could do that someday?
That's another one of those questions that I have to be careful with. Let me say this. I am by temperament more an executive than a legislator. I like running things, I like managing things, and I like being the final decision maker about policy and personnel and management. That's why I was interested in Attorney General in 2010. That's why I may look at other positions in the future.
All right. Boulder County District Attorney Stan Garnett. When's your last day?
My last day is the last day of February 28th.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in and chatting with us. Good luck in your new position. We appreciate
Thank you very much.
Time. Thank you.
Yep.